Once again, that's GOEMORY.org/register.
You are listening to WRFG Atlanta. WRFG provides a voice for those who have been traditionally denied open access to the broadcast media through the involvement of a broad base of community elements to guarantee that access. In the utilization of the station's facilities and in its programs, the following communities will receive first priority: those who continue to be denied free and open access to the broadcast media, and those who suffer oppression or exploitation based upon class, race, sex, age, creed, sexual orientation, disability, or immigrant status.
WRFG operates on the frequency of 89.3 megahertz as authorized by the Federal Communications Commission. Opinions expressed on WRFG do not necessarily represent the opinions of Radio Free Georgia Broadcasting, Inc., its staff, or volunteers. This program contains language and/or information which may be strong for some listeners. Portions of this program are pre-recorded. Discretion is advised.
Funding for this program is made possible by listeners like you and the following sponsors. Wantanara Inc. presents the annual Wantanara Cultural Arts Festival on November 15th and 16th at the Southwest Arts Center, located at 915 New Hope Road, Southwest Atlanta. From 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. each day, experience powerful dance and cultural workshops led by master artists from across the globe, along with live West African drumming, DJ sets, a cocktail hour, panel discussions, food trucks, and a vibrant vendor market. Whether you're a beginner, an experienced artist, or simply want to soak up the culture, the Wantanara Cultural Arts Festival is the place to be. More information is available at wantanarainc.org and on social media at wantanara.inc. That's WON.
The greatest female warrior. I humble myself before the mysteries of Oya, spirit of the wind. I humble myself before the mysteries of Oya, queen of the ancestors, mother of nine. Cosmic winds, spiraling, whirling, the mother of storms has arrived. Oya, both loved and feared, cleanses the path of all evil, making way for great change. Dark feminine, powerful energy. She destroys what is unneeded, stirring up our deepest emotions. Her medicine is chaos, tearing away illusions, setting us free to transform. I humble myself before the mysteries of Oya, queen of the winds of change. I humble myself before the mysteries of Oya, greatest female warrior. I humble myself before the mysteries of Oya, spirit of wind. I Oya brings great upheaval and sudden change. Oya, let me have your wind at my back. Push me to my highest transformation. The winds of Oya always bring us good fortune. Oya, gatekeeper of the pathway between life and death. Oya is new life and peaceful death held within the breath. High Queen, revealer of secrets and the unseen. She sees all with her spiritual eye. I humble myself before the mysteries of Oya, Queen of the winds of change. I humble myself before the mysteries of Oya, greatest female warrior. I humble myself before the mysteries of Oya, spirit of wind. I humble myself before the mysteries of Oya, Queen of the ancestors, Mother of nine. Buffalo woman, master shapeshifter. She sits on the throne with her sisters, the Iya Omisegun, teaching us how to shift with ease, teaching us how to ride the winds of change and triumph. Nothing moves without you. Nothing breathes without you. Sustainer of life, exists forever. Standing in the wind.
Whatever name your ancestors gave, whatever name you learned as a child, whatever name you believe it to be, whatever name you believe it to be in spirit or in science, Ashe. We pour to the first human beings who came into existence on this planet, the first human beings who raised the first structures, who cooked the first meals, who taught the first children, who had the first children, the first Africans, the first people who stood upright, who walked, who figured out how to stay on this planet, who figured out how to pass that knowledge on to their children and their children's children, the mothers and fathers of civilization, Ashe. We pour the next libation to their grandchildren, their children's children, those who raised the great early civilizations of Kemet and Kush and Monomotapa, the great medieval civilizations of Ghana and Mali and Songhai and Kanem Bornu. We pour to those who the great civilizations of the Igbo people and the Hausa people and the Kikongo people and the Mabara people, the great Mande civilizations, the great Kikongo, the great civilizations of Southern Africa, the Bantu people, the great civilizations of Southeast Africa, the Dinka, the Shilluk, the Noor. We pour to those millions who raised the foundations from which the world would learn what it meant to be human in the world, Ashe. We pour to their children who upon the arrival on the shores of people they had never seen before, found themselves captured and marched overland, found themselves perishing by the millions before they were held on the holding cells and the open air pens on the coast of West, Central, Southern, and East Africa. We pour to the ancestors who did not know as they were stripped of all clothing and sent denuded into boats, packed like animals, and strewn their bones across the floor of the Atlantic and the Indian Ocean. We pour to them who in the last moment on Africa grabbed the sand and grabbed the dirt and put it in their mouths and understood that the only thing they might have to preserve their place in that continent was their memory of that place and their ability to pass it on to their children. We pour to them, Ashe.
Ashe.
We pour to those Africans and their children who finding themselves cast adrift in Santiago, Cuba, who found themselves cast adrift in Port-au, Spain, Trinidad, and Port-au-Prince, Haiti, who found themselves cast adrift in New Orleans and Charleston and Mobile, who found themselves cast adrift in Salvador Bahia, who found themselves cast adrift in Barbados and the archipelago that formed the wayward and the windward coast. We found them in these places learning Portuguese and Spanish and French, whose often first words was, "Oh my God, oh Madre de Dios," who found themselves praying to survive and pass on to their children the memories. We pour to those ancestors who are represented in the thousands buried in all the square miles of where we stand, and who sit here buried before us in 400 caskets forged of wood from West Africa with Adinkra symbols. Each one of them, each woman, man, and child, symbolic of millions. The children of those who could not be killed, we pour Ashe. We pour to their children who somehow survived the hells of enslavement and fought for emancipation in the Caribbean, the French, British, Dutch Caribbean, who fought for emancipation in South America, who fought for emancipation in Central America, who fought the struggles we refer to as the Civil War in the United States, who came out of that, marched out of enslavement through Reconstruction, and found themselves making great migrations, eventually ending up in places like New York. Their children's children, who making a way for themselves, became our great-great-grandparents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our parents. Those who, when the first bones were discovered in this space, held their hands and said, "Stop, no more." We are here to speak for those who can no longer speak with their mouths. We pour for those ancestors, some of whom came to Howard University in 2004 and followed these caskets all back to New York. The ones whose names we know and the ones whose names we don't. And at this moment, as we pour this libation, I would ask anyone who feels comfortable to say the name of someone in your bloodline who is no longer physically here, but who you know made it possible for you to be here. Go ahead, let's hear the names. Haywood Carr,
Porter Griffin,
Thomas Lee Jr.,
Evelyn Glover.
We pour to the names that we hold collectively. Ganga Zumba in Brazil, Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and Henri Christophe in Haiti. We pour to the great Avengers, Nanny of the Maroons of Jamaica. We pour to the great ancestors, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Frederick Douglass. Say the names that you study. Who are the names of the ancestors that you have come to hold in your heart and your mind as you hope that you can do what they did for us, for your children and children's children? Let's say some of those famous names. Malcolm X, Little Hamer, John Henry Clark, John G. Jackson, Jacob Carruthers. And finally, two final libations. We pour to those who make it possible for us to do what we do. We pour to these rangers who stand guardian over this sacred space. We pour to these Africans and these folks who have come from Howard University, the staff, the faculty, the administrators who brought us here today to bear witness. This is not a libation, but an affirmation, because their hearts still beat, their tongues still speak, their minds still think, and their minds still wish the best for us. We pour for all of those people who surrounded us on this journey today and made it possible for us to be here. We pour this affirmation of thanks, Ashe.
Ashe.
And finally, we pour to your children's children's children who will one day stand on this space and speak your name. Ashe.
A new socio-economic and political path of development. They give all kinds of reasons and excuses, some of them credible, some utter rubbish. There's an interesting one that we saw very recently in a secret report of the State Department. I want to tell you about that one, so you can reflect on that one. That secret report made this point, that Grenada is different to Cuba and Nicaragua. And the Grenada Revolution is in one sense even worse, I'm using their language, than the Cuban and Nicaraguan revolutions, because the people of Grenada and the leadership of Grenada speaks English and therefore can communicate directly to the people of the United States. But I want to tell you what that same report also said, and said that also made us very dangerous. And that is that the people of Grenada and the leadership of Grenada are predominantly black. They said that 95% of our population is black, and they had a correct statistic. And if we have 95% of predominantly African origin in our country, then we can have a dangerous appeal to 30 million black people in the United States.
The historical speech by Maurice Bishop of Grenada radiates with the gravity of a moment in political time where a small island nation became the prism for global anxieties. Bishop dissects
to be someone to belong, nearing a mile and a half furlong. Don't give up now, pray for strength now, for you I dedicate my song. La da 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 da. We are the same ones in the plantation with lashes to our skin. On auction blocks we were chained and cold, and up merchandise. Carnally abused, born we were abused, and thrown in the garbage bin. But no need for that now. Free yourself of that now, and help me sing my song. La da 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 da
Ahmed Maurice Bishop.
Nous avons discuté longuement.
We discussed for a long time.
Et nous nous sommes donné mutuellement des conseils.
We advised each other.
Quand je suis rentré dans mon pays, j'ai été arrêté par l'impérialisme.
As soon as I went back home, imperialists arrested me.
J'ai pensé à Maurice Bishop.
I thought about Maurice Bishop.
Quelque temps après, j'ai pu être délivré de prison.
Sometime later, I was freed from jail.
Grâce à la mobilisation de la population.
Thanks to the people's mobilization.
Et j'ai pensé encore à Maurice Bishop.
Once again, I thought about Bishop.
J'ai préparé pour lui une lettre.
I wrote him a letter.
Je n'ai pas eu l'occasion de la lui envoyer.
I never had the chance to send it to him.
Là encore à cause de l'impérialisme.
Once again, because of imperialism.
Alors nous avons compris qu'il faut désormais lutter contre l'impérialisme sans relâche.
I understood that we must relentlessly fight against imperialism.
Si nous ne voulons pas que demain on assassine encore des Maurice Bishop, il faut que nous nous mobilisions dès aujourd'hui.
If we don't want any more assassinations against other bishops, we must be organized today.
Et c'est pourquoi je vais vous montrer que je suis prêt contre l'impérialisme.
That's why I'm going to show you that I'm ready for imperialism.
Nearing a mile and a half furlong. Don't give up now, just pray for strength now, for you I dedicate my song. La da 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 da. We are the same ones in the plantation with lashes to our skin.
Great man of Burkina Faso. Before that, we heard the ancestral voice of Maurice Bishop. Both of them martyred in a few days of each other. In the month of October. Ancestral October, and underneath soundtrack for today, Sky, one of the common denominators. There are many more common denominators in the reality of martyrdom, of revolutionaries. One of those denominators is the energy that sacrifice by the will of the Most High, the energy that that sacrifice provides to all humanity. Anytime someone comes up and gives up their life force essence, whether they are allowed to be martyred or they are allowed to live a long life or anything in between, it's a gift for the whole. Another one of those common denominators is that it's a mama. In the way of the African revolutionaries, is a black mama who is left bawling for her child, mourning the blood of her offspring being shed in the street. That's something that we know enough of. So in this month of October, as every day we get the chance together, we want to make sure that we take good advantage of the time we've been granted together to do our thing and to affirm life in the fullest way. 20 minutes after the hour of 2, you're tuned into the Ancestral Rock on your station for progressive information and handpicked quality music. I want to say good afternoon to you all. Missed you in the flesh last strong, and I want to thank you all for your support of WRFG. To date, we have gotten to $36,000.91 of the $35,000 goal. You know, and it's always time, it's always appropriate to beat that number, to help us take it to another level, because this is the reason why you can hear the voice of Thomas Sankara. For those of y'all locked in with us on YouTube, I want to greet you as well, and on Facebook. You can subscribe to the channel on YouTube, On the Farm LLC. So you be locked in, you see him. He's at the United African Movement. And he, as we know, as his legacy shows, was not a show-off, a boastful kind of person, a loudmouth, but he was brandishing his weapon as a symbol of what he stands for. And I say stand because Thomas Sankara lived just like Maurice Bishop lives. That energy has been planted, and in the case of Burkina Faso, we see so clearly. We see a revolutionary leader who even carries around his briefcase. And clearly, not by rhetoric, but by what is manifest works, what we are seeing with our own eyes, carrying on his legacy. So we give thanks for that. And we give thanks, again, to our African woman. So I played this one from the top to the very first drop. This afternoon, we got a special program for you. There's a program that once in a while you've heard us share little excerpts of on this station that just completed its second season. Internet broadcast, high quality iversation, curated by our sister Omisegun, who has been a guest on this program before, Iya Omisegun, and the family Iwa Lifestyle. So we today are going to feature a conversation that we had with her on set in the Volta region. I want to big up our Habesha family, helping Africa by establishing schools at home and abroad. That has established the Kwaku Ando Sustainability Institute in the Liatiwoti region of the Volta region of Ghana. The Liatiwoti is the village, the Volta region of Ghana. And we're going to feature that interview this afternoon and let you see what's going on. Let's get some more insight about the Iwa lifestyle. What is it all about? And why is it something that, while being curated especially for, unapologetically, and we love that, for African women, something that the creators have chosen to put, the creators of the program have chosen to put onto the public square so we can all hear. Check it out, y'all. Judy Moore at the control tower.
Bring your findings and up for the right thing and not that which is wrong. I heard Rachel mourning for her No, you struggle, Lord. I feel your affliction. For you I dedicate my song. La da 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 da. Thank you very, very much. I love you.
89.3 FM dial. WRFG Atlanta. Best information I have for quality music. Give thanks for life. We're here until the 4 o'clock hour. Tell a friend, you know. Them tune in. You don't want to miss this one. I know a whole heap of want to have their internet on cock. And it's for good cause because we want to tune in with the voices of our mothers, you know, and let them know, say we are tuned in and pay attention to what they have to say. 404-523-8989 is the number up here. 404-523-8989. 404-523-8989. WRFG Atlanta, 89.3 FM. Tune in. On the foothills at the base of Mount Afajato, the tallest mountain on the west coast of Africa. Here with Iya Omisegun, Iya Nifa, Iya Lorisha, mama, wife, teacher, nation builder, all the things. And we're happy to be able to be in community with you here in Ghana. That's such a beautiful place, you know, and so I'm happy to have you again. Welcome again to the Ancestral Rock, and thank you for being with us. Yes. Yeah, man. So we just wanted to talk, you know, behind the scenes, you know, I've often found myself reaching out to you to just say, express my appreciation for that show, Voices of Iwa. That's really, in many different ways, taking the world by storm, I would say, you know. No pun intended, or a pun intended. I mean, it is what it is. And it's just, for me, you know, as someone who inherited a consciousness from my father especially, I'm big him up of the imperative of elevating our mothers, or just really moving the foolishness out of the way so our mothers are already there. They're already elevated. Absolutely. So it's not that for us to elevate them more than it is for us to move the vestiges of colonialism out of the way so that we can function again as natural people, you know? Mm-hmm. So we're going to take a little walk down by the riverside here and just talk about the voices of Iwa. I want to ask you first, again, congratulations on a very powerful program. What season is this?
So we're going into season 3.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going into season 3. That'll start in November.
Okay.
I'm excited about it. The last 2 seasons, you know, the first season we were looking at the role of women in our community. The second season we were looking at embodying the Orisha, embodying those energies that we uplift. How do we live?
True.
How do we live? Wow.
As you're saying, embodying the Orisha, and just for the people who watching us on StreamYard, you'll see what we're talking about. We're passing through one of these signs we see at Kazi all the time, the sign of the ants. It's just a whole family, and they moving through, you know? Yeah, they're just moving through and doing their thing. So as you talk about embodying the Orisha, for those who are not familiar with that language, embodying, probably we're familiar with, but embodying the Orisha.
Yeah.
Or for those who have heard of Orisha and have some kind of other thing in mind, and would ask, well, how can you embody the Orisha? How does that work?
Yeah. So we live in spirit, right? We call on in Isheshe tradition, we call on the spirits of nature, right? We may say, so the river is here, right? And Oshun is one of the energies that's represented at the river, right? So to not only her energy is one that's of creativity, is one that is really of universal love, right? So how do we, how I can call on Oshun, but how do I live? How do I live that universal love? How do I live that creativity? Same with Abatala, right? Where today is Abatala's day. That's also another creative energy, an energy of wisdom and great intelligence.
True.
You know, how do we live that energy rather than just speaking about it,
Right.
or calling on it, but not. Sometimes we don't ensure that these are the values and principles by which we live. So it's really an opportunity for us to have deeper conversation around how we move from practice,
And
right,
hopefully that you're not.
to lifestyle.
So there's a few things. There's so much that comes up as you're sharing. One is, again, based on an assumption that many people have, especially there's a contingent of people who have left Abrahamic faiths, have left the so-called Western religions, even though they all have their root in Africa, but that's a whole different conversation, you know.
Right.
But that mindset, and it would seem that it's strange to have that conversation about embodying, about living out the creed and not just saying words in the African spiritual context, because that's the reason why a lot of people come home to indigenous traditions, you know, because it's said to be more in harmony with nature. So it's just interesting to me. It's just something that I thought came to my mind as you were talking, that you have absolutely found a need, and obviously a need is there if you were able to find it, to share those principles, or to encourage that alignment, even in the context of African spiritual traditions, specifically Isheshe.
You know, I think what happens is we may leave. Because I left Christianity, right? It was me and Jesus for a long time, because that's what I understood and that's what I knew. And then coming into the traditions, what I found was I still felt like, you know, I still felt for a long time like the Orisha were outside of me, right? And I was wanting to connect with them, just like connecting with Jesus, right? Like I'm looking for that savior to kind of help me live my better life. Also, I think sometimes we get very bogged down in I don't necessarily say dogma, but we're learning chants, we're learning new language, you know, we're initiating, so we're trying to follow protocol and follow practice, and so we get rigid, right? And we don't even have the opportunity. Some of us sometimes don't have the opportunity to relax in it, to sit in it, and to really build a relationship with the Orisha. And I think that is the thing, when I was able to free my mind and kind of think of it like, you know, if I'm sitting at the riverbank and I am building a relationship with Oshun, right? How do I build that relationship and keep that relationship so that the lines of communication between Oshun and I are it's reciprocal, right? She is me and I am her. We are one together, as opposed to this entity that's outside of me. You know, we traveled all the way back to Nigeria to receive some understanding and to initiate and to grow closer. And then I started to realize that this energy lives in me.
All over, anywhere.
Yeah, I take it wherever I'm at.
True.
Wherever I'm at, Oshun is. Wherever I'm at, Olokun is.
That's it.
You know,
Yeah. That's real.
that took some time.
Final question for this rabbit hole. I'm sure we're going to find a few rabbit holes. Do you think, or have you even observed, that same re-initiation in terms of our perspective of life, again embodying the Orisha, is
happening or it's necessary in communities where people, that's all they know. Like just say Nigeria, for instance, where that tradition comes from. Now we are here right now in Ghana, which is where the Afro tradition emanates from, and Mami Wata, which kind of chronologically precedes the Ifa tradition in that sense. And you're seeing, as we were climbing the mountain yesterday, we're hearing the church music strong in the background, African drums and everything. But beyond just the adoption of a new religion, I'm just wondering, have you witnessed that there is a need for some form? Let me ask in a different way. Have you witnessed a chasm in terms of indigenous people? When I say indigenous, people who live in these lands where these traditions come from, having to also realign themselves with the Orisha instead of, the fact that we came from this, we lived this all our life, this is all we know. Just how has that looked for you?
Yeah, so the answer to the question is yes,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yes, because I think colonization has impacted everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Western civilization has impacted us all.
Mm-hmm.
We have moved away. Some people, right, have moved away from the land, have moved away from their understanding, even to the point where, like, sometimes we center. I got a message while I was here about centering spirit in everything that's done.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we forget to center spirit. We center money, right? We center people, and forget to center spirit. And it's not a judgment. It's just what has happened. So it's an opportunity. I find the further we get away from, like, the big cities and the hustle and bustle, right? Like here where we are in Liatewote, like I was saying how I felt like these people embrace. Like I heard
I reached out to get an update.
one of the fathers say, like, come here.
Mm-hmm.
We invite you to come here
Mm-hmm.
and help us. Our lost children, right? We were tricked. You were taken from us. We invite you to come back and help us. Let's build together. I've never heard that, and I've been around for I've had the opportunity and the luxury, honestly, to travel to different places. That's the first time that has been said like that. And when it was said, it like struck me in the chest.
Genuine, yes.
And more than one person said it, right? More than one person in the royal family said, we want you all to come here
And
to help us
Yes.
to make this space known and bigger and greater. Let's work together. That was beautiful, and it really touched me and inspired me.
Yeah, I get chills even hearing you repeat it, even though I was there and I've heard it many times myself. It's like it shows the not just emotional maturity, the awareness of the reality. Because one of the things that the enemies of our people have played against us is this whole narrative to Africans in the diaspora: Africa don't want you.
Yes.
And for those on the continent, those Africans away, they don't care about you. They forgot home. They don't honor you.
Yes.
So that exchange is so crucial.
Or they just want to use you for your money, right? And that's been something that we've experienced in, we were talking about the seasons. Like season 3, we're gonna we haven't named it yet, but it's really to look and focus on talking about the things that we don't talk about as a community. Like some of those things that where it's like, I would love to talk about that, but the space isn't made to have an open dialogue and conversation. So we're going to have some harder conversations.
That's what's up.
Right. And with that, I feel like we've gained trust of our audience.
Right.
So they trust us to have these conversations in a way that's going to be constructive and helpful.
Right.
And so one of those conversations is this thought, is this connection that we have to the continent, right? As people that live, as Black people that live in the diaspora, and some of us feel like we're being taken advantage of, right? We don't feel. You have that myth about people just bringing, you're coming here and you're not receiving the truth, right? You're getting half truths and that type of thing, even in. Even in our spirituality, that is a reality for people, right? You pay tens of thousands of dollars, and then you still, you don't feel connected to the family, right? Some of that is on us, right? And some of that is our real need for connection.
Yeah.
That was something that we spent time on here, right?
Yeah,
Like I feel so connected to these Black people.
I say,
Especially in the
me
last
too.
week. What the like?
I
If you
might
had
cry
told
when we
me,
leave, for sure.
man,
Trust
and
me.
and that is genuine because we
Yes.
spent time
Mm-hmm.
deepening our connection with
Mm-hmm.
one another.
Mm-hmm. Real talk.
You
Real
know?
talk. So
And
let's get forward to the voices of Iwa. Speaking of trust,
yeah.
you know, I jokingly say to you all the time, you know, it's I almost feel awkward if because it's so the conversations are so engaging, and I'd be wanting to chime in, but it's like, you know, this is a woman's platform, and it feels like, you know, I know about time and place. As I say, I'm a girl dad. I just grew up in a circle of mothers, you know, from birth to now and for eternity. I'm just surrounded by women, so I understand keeping women's circles sacred, you know. Still, it's open to us, and so we learn and everything. So thank you for trusting us with even this interview, you know. So let's talk a little bit more about who you are, and um, in the aspect of what some of the experiences, some of the revelations that informed you to this point, you know, from childhood to now. You can give us the truncated version that would even inspire you to come up with the voices of Iwa, to really bring that forth. I know it just had to be. I'm sure you got so much going on. You got so much to do, and you're so good at so much. Why this?
Yeah, the Orisha have saved my life. That's the you could put a period on that, right? And so in understanding that the Orisha have saved my life, meaning I believe firmly in my soul, had I not turned my life over to Ifa and the Orisha, that I would not be here. Um, and I certainly wouldn't be here in alignment with my destiny in the way that I am. I also feel like the Orisha have saved the life of my children, especially my daughter, because Ifa said so, right? Like, so so with that, I want to open the way for more people to know and understand a pathway to their own healing and to their own destiny. I love Black people, and I mean that. Like, I love Black people, and I believe that we are the keepers of the world, and I believe that women. I believe that our voices, our energy, and our magic can change the universe. And in stepping into leadership in the tradition, I've had some experiences where there were times where I felt unheard, unrecognized, maybe even unnecessary
Because of your gender?
because of my gender. And I know for a fact that that is not of Ifa, you know, that is not of the Orisha. As a matter of fact, we have story upon story upon story that talks about the necessity of our energy. And so, like, you know, there's just some. We've been talking about like scripts, right? There's just some scripts that we have to change. And as I experienced more and also overcome more, I've I've just regained my power in my voice,
Respect.
right? And that one of my favorite stories is that story of Iwa, right? I've always been, for whatever reason, Iwa's energy, right? If you're not familiar with the story, Iwa was married to Orumila, one of Orumila's wives. And Ika, you know, Orumila chased Iwa, right? He wanted her. And when he got her, he actually mistreated her. And so when he mistreated her, she was like, you know, chuck the deuces, like I'm gone. But she was looking for help, and she went to different babalawos to look for help. And you know, all of them were like, "Orumila is my dog, like Orumila is my cat. Like I can't. I'm sorry. I would love to help you, but I can't." And so you know, that story really resonated with me. One on the tip that
More specific.
women do not, we should not sit in our oppression in any kind of way, right? That we should speak up, and we should say something. And two, my thought process is like, how are we going to change anything unless we work together on it? So, you know, everybody, like you are one of the brothers that there's several of you who are so adamant about your love for the show and your respect for the show, and that means so much to me. Because the show wasn't created, it is created with women's voices at the center, and women's voices at the center for the entire community to hear, right? And so to amplify, just as EY was able to like say like, hey, no, I'm not gonna stand for that, right? It's the same way that I want women to be able to use their voices to say, hey, no, have we thought about it like this? What about that? Like things that are important to our community, so that her voice, EY's voice, the woman's voice is amplified.
For sure. So take us a little bit to childhood. What I'm curious is where the first time you saw your voice, especially as a woman, as a girl at the time, either the preciousness of it, the precious nature of it, or the suppression of it because of the same reason, because of your gender.
So I grew up in St. Croix, United States, Virgin Islands, a proud Virgin Islander. And my household was, my mother had a strong voice. So I'm not going to say that I grew up seeing a woman hold her tongue. That wasn't the case at all. What was interesting?
Not at all.
Not the case at all. What's interesting though is that, and she would say this later. My mom also did not. She also didn't invite my voice. Like, so I know I can't say necessarily as a girl, but as a child, right? Like a Caribbean child should know the place,
Right.
And honestly, I'd be vulnerable because I am on the show. I was violated as a child and did not know how to utilize my voice. And so let me tell you something about women's intuition. My mother, when I finally told her I was 21, what she would finally tell me is that she felt like she knew and that she also didn't use her voice. She was too fearful to ask me out of fear of what she felt she might have done. And so she ended up getting a reading by a Haitian voodoo priest who told her that something happened to me, but that that I had started my way on recovery from it. And when I was 21, and we were just having a deep conversation. We would talk by coffee, and she finally asked some questions, and I gave her some answers, and it was such a bonding moment for me. And she told me then, she was like, I never want you to stifle your voice. I always want you to feel like you can speak up and you can talk. She said, however I help to contribute to that, she apologized, for and really encouraged me from that moment, to speak up, and it's something that I've still struggled with over time. But I know where it stems from.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
I have learned in my own life that what we perceive as stumbling blocks are really designed as stepping stones, and we experience them in different ways. So outside of that great challenge that you experienced as a youth, as you grew into adulthood, and I'm assuming you moved to the mainland. I don't even want to call it the mainland, the Turtle Island. I want to raise a petition to change the name from the Bloodfire U.S. Virgin Islands. But anyway, that's a different conversation. So how did that consciousness of your being a woman, your womanhood, and the power in that, the vulnerability, all of those things, how did that develop as you grew?
College was interesting. I went to Xavier University,
In New Orleans.
In New Orleans.
Okay. That's like a little Caribbean.
It totally is, right? It's like I moved from one space to another, like a little larger, but still very concentrated. And I think there also I was just struggling with, still struggling with like, finding my voice and being able to like to speak up in environments and like to raise. I wanted to be. I was bringing my Caribbean heritage with me wherever I was, and people weren't so people. It's interesting, even in New Orleans, people still weren't so familiar. Even though I found so much threads between Caribbean culture and heritage and that in New Orleans. I just struggled from that time to like.
I will just call.
One of the things that I would say is like sometimes I would look around for like somebody to answer for me. I guess like being the youngest girl, well, I'm the only girl also. I was.
Well, you're the only girl?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was very, very sheltered. My brother,
So you got a whole heap of big brothers?
I have one big brother.
Okay.
I have one big brother who's 6 years older than me.
Oh man.
So we grew up in the same house and different, and very different. And still, when I finally got to college, as I would enter rooms, I just think I had told myself a story, about where my voice was welcomed and where it wasn't. And like just I lived out some of that in my first marriage, and even in becoming like starting to understand the Orisha more and studying more, I started to live out that same narrative.
Of course.
Right, that my voice was less important. I don't know, like even as I'm sitting here thinking about it, I can't say that I can pinpoint like this. Well, that's
yeah, but you didn't.
That's not true.
I mean, thank you for the clarity, but
there have been specific times where as a woman, your presence is, or my presence was challenged, or people may say things like, really like the like kind of putting you in your place as a woman, and again having fear around, like at the times when I've had fear around speaking up, that has stifled me. I've had to really learn to just find my power.
You say colonialism is, I mean, it's a serious thing. Like in Ghana, again, we had an audience with the royal family the other day, and part of what happened in terms of the protocol, if anyone has ever seen the chief or the king sit, somebody sits in front of him. And so some of our family here thought that the person in front was the king. He's hidden in that way. But then one thing we know for sure, and we give thanks for people like Nana Bafur and Nana Fukia and all these African warrior scholars that reminded us that the Queen Mother is the one who really got the power.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested, like, and I know that this is not just in Ghana. So I want to ask you to share the story of Oshun, the story about when she was, neglected, ignored, to help us bring us back into that understanding. For those who don't know, Oshun now, you hear the name all the time in the pop culture, and it's usually associated with one kind of energy, maybe sexuality or sensuality and all that, pretty long hair and all that kind of stuff. But take us back to a story that our ancestors grew up knowing, which seems to me to be an eternal reminder of, we talking about the place of things or beings.
The necessity of her presence and voice, right? And when I say her, I mean like women,
Mm-hmm.
period. So in Osetua,
Mm-hmm.
Oshun was one of the Imimole that came.
And you say Osetura. I don't want to assume that everyone knows. We have a wide audience, so
Yes,
when you say Osetura, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to the sacred Odu Osetura.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the 256 Odu
Mm-hmm.
in the Ifa corpus.
Mm-hmm.
So, every tradition has their writings and their teachings.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Sheshe tradition, ours is the Ifa corpus, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 256 Odus and all of the stories,
Mm-hmm.
right? The millions of stories that are known by Babalawo across the world.
Mm-hmm.
So this story in Osetua is pretty popular.
Mm-hmm.
Oshun was one of the Orisha of Irimole that came from heaven to earth, right, to help to create earth.
Mm-hmm.
And the men Orisha, the male energies, right, they left her out. They were having meetings and like deciding how things would be,
Mm-hmm.
and they left her out.
Mm-hmm.
They left out Oshun,
Mm-hmm.
and when they left her out, they noticed that things weren't working well for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like things started to not, like their things that they were planning, it wasn't going good, right? It wasn't going well. So they went to Ozumar and they were like, hey, like what's going on with, we're trying to, we're building things and we're trying to get these things together on earth and it's not going well. And Ozumar said, where's the woman among them? Right? And they were like, well, we didn't invite her, And Ogunai said that no, there must be space for her. You must put her at the table. She's a necessity. And people, I've heard like how people are kind of like, Oshun stopped everything that they were doing, and she made it so that, their works were null and void. And
that's certainly how I heard it, and I repeat it. So put me up on game. Straighten me out now.
What I have recognized and what I have realized, even in my own life, is that when you leave her out, she doesn't have to.
Right. It's a self-sabotage neck.
There's no, she's not sitting there going, I hope your shit don't work. Excuse me. But I hope that, your things don't work, or wishing any ill on anything or anybody. Right. It is just
you just played yourself if you don't.
Exactly. You just played yourself.
And that's such a profound point, because it shows again the nature of things. And it removes any opportunity for some like pointing fingers and name and creating this dichotomy. That's just how creation rests. If you neglect any of those fundamental energies, you neglect yourself.
And this is why I think it's also so important that we have Odu interpreted by both men and women, right? It's important because, sometimes my husband and I will be looking at the same Odu. And he's a Babalawo and he's, like we're studying and we're learning together. And he may see things one way and I may have a completely different perspective because of my, experience in life as a woman. And we're like, two things are true, right? And we have to welcome that. I think that is the thing that, again, this is why I'm saying it's important for our voices to be heard. It's important for someone to ask, like, hey, sister, what do you also get out of this Odu, right? Or what is your perspective, right? So that can also be uplifted and raised.
89.3 FM, WRFG Atlanta, your station for progressive information and high quality music. Inside the interview with Iya Omisegun, or Voices of Iwa, talking about this phenomenal program that they have brought forth to the world. And, of course, when we're talking about something, we want to look at the root of things. Life is a farm, right? Because there's something that's an impetus that creates an impetus for certain situations. And when as I repeat all the time, quoting our attorney at War Automatics, one of the reasons that we haven't been able to even consistently and en masse, which are both very possible, very plausible, consistently and en masse to duplicate the gains of our ancestors is because we haven't studied the architects of our success. It's very important. Stay tuned to yourself. We'll have more of the interview after this. 404-523-8989. 404-523-8989 is the number up here. Check it out.
For this program is made possible by listeners like you and the following sponsors. Wantanara Inc. presents the annual Wantanara Cultural Arts Festival on November 15th and 16th at the Southwest Arts Center, located at 915 New Hope Road, Southwest Atlanta. From 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. each day, experience powerful dance and cultural workshops led by master artists from across the globe, along with live West African drumming, DJ sets, a cocktail hour, panel discussions, food trucks, and a vibrant vendor market. Whether you're a beginner, an experienced artist, or simply want to soak up the culture, the Wantanara Cultural Arts Festival is the place to be. More information is available at wantanarainc.org and on social media at wantanara.inc. That's WONTANARA.inc.
Check it out. This is WRFG Atlanta 89.3 in the FM dial. Yeah, so welcome to the Ancestral Rock. We're here.
Ocean is the spirit of the river. Open your hands, she's a sweet and steady giver. She'll turn your tears of sadness into gladness. Raises to yeah, ocean is the spirit of the river. Open your hands, she's a sweet and steady giver. She'll turn your tears of sadness into gladness. Praises to ocean.
Creator, Ptah, Oludumare, Odumakoma, Enyame, Ama, Neter, all traditional African names for the one God. Abosun, Orisha, Loa, Neteru, aspects of the divine, Insamanfo, Sheps, Egungun, ancestors on whose shoulders we stand. Black notes, libation, a spiritual offering, a prayer with props to God, to earth, with water, fire, air, breath of life of the Creator, divine presence, wisdom, power, connecting us to ancestors. Queen Nzinga, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, Malcolm X, Stephen Biko, connecting us to ancestors, struggles to progress, past to present, enlightenment to African cultural, spiritual space, gracing the cosmos, the universe with aspects of the all, encompassing our entire being, singing in harmony with joy, in pleasure, beyond measure, in passion for life, voiced like the song of the river, flowing with the sensual grace of Oshun. Oshun, Peperu, Nana Isi, Oshun, representing the beautiful, the feminine features of life, lightly dancing to a timeless rhythm, in tune with the tone of a spiritual offering, a prayer with props to the highest, down to earth with water, fire, air, breath of life of the Creator, divine presence, wisdom, power, like the nucleus, the core, black, sweet, black, woman, energy, strength, black, man, energy, complementing, black, woman, energy, unifying, connecting us to ancestors. Martin Luther King, Queen T, Imhotep, Zumbi, David Walker, Nat Turner, Ida B. Wells, Marcus Garvey, Medgar Evers, Fannie Lou Hamer, Fred Hampton, George Jackson, Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, John Henry Clark, Fela, Anikulapo, Kuti, connecting us to ancestors, struggles to progress, past to present to future, transcending space and time with ancient to future, black roots, libation, and piety, a spiritual donation to creation, creatively opening the way from this day forward for divine melody, presence, rhythm, wisdom, word, power, black notes.
Put it down, this your song, now put it down. One, dance for the gun, now we put it down. Showing that the evil, now we put it down. And you want celebrations, but because that we are put it down. Yes, come in a tent, come in a thousand. Man to a woman, no style and fashion. Can't go for masters, we are the boss, I love put it down. Put it down. Put it down. Artists by this is how we put it down. So much of it is a lie and a man. We are the next generation. Mistake we make, we put it down. Yes. Put it down, nice of a long. People dancing a chance, no still down. Everyone in a chance, cause this your song, you're going to put it down. Yes. Put it down. July and Lucy, I put it down. And I have to see and come and put it down. See, yes, cause take up the sugar, come and must put it down. Take up the pants and I must put it down. Dance for the can of the song when you love I just put it down. Yes, come in a dance, come in a thousand. Man to a woman, love style and fashion. Can't walk a master's feet and the boss, I love put it down. Sing, put it down. I'm on the 24 track, I feel it, put it down. Yes, I'm ready to never feel up a storm. Put it down. Come on, tell me we put it down. Sing, put it down. Come on, tell me we put it down. Sing, put it down. This your song, you're going to put it down. One, dance for the gun, yeah, how we put it down. Showing at the area, how we put it down. And the wild celebrations, but because that we are put it down. Yes, the artist for which is how we put it down. Because so much of it is a lie and a man. We are the next generation, respect when we put it down. Yes.
With special request to all the gatherers of the nation. Any way you gather the nation, you know, guys, one love. And we know that there's more than just some kind of sweet speech. It's a reality. It's one creation. And when 1 and 2 and 3 gather, giving praises to the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, you can say the Queen of Queens, same way, you know. Giving thanks to the Almighty, known by many names and many natures. The principle of life, indomitable. There also is the Creator to give us the blessing. We're going to continue with this interview. For those of y'all joining us, this is where the video actually kind of cut off. So you'll hear the fullness, the continuing of the interview. For those of y'all joining us, I would say on YouTube and those type of things. So you'll hear the audio as we move along. Check it out.
So as a result, right, the Babalaos they had to bring Oshun in one, and that is why at the end of anytime we are doing Eva, we have to uplift Oshun, right? She is present. Her energy is necessary to be able to make the Eva effective.
And the Eva is sacrifice.
Sacrifice, yeah. When we come to do spiritual work, you know, divination is an important part of our traditions. So not just when something's going wrong, right? But anytime you come for a divination, anytime you want to consult the Orisha, anytime you want to consult Ita, you must also do the Eba, the sacrifice that goes along with it.
So, you know, that brings me into another one of them rabbit holes. I love, you know, philosophical rabbit hole. As you were mentioning that, thank you for that explanation. It seems to me that this was a plague, this ignorance, we just call it ignorance, this ignoring of the energy of Oshun, which in many ways, as you have said, represents the energy of mothers, of women. This came before colonialism. So then, it often begs the question, you know, like how did our civilization become so vulnerable to invasion? And as we're rebuilding civilization, which is absolutely what we're doing, how do we fortify ourselves so that we're not again vulnerable to this thing? You know? Yeah. You know, I think of, you know, and this is when I say that there's maybe people in our Pan-African tradition who feel like we're speaking ill of our ancestors. You know, for me, I just want to speak for myself. I'm just reflecting as they would want me to do on lessons learned. So this is a primordial story.
Yeah.
So this didn't come after some Roman Catholics. So and it made me, I thought of it when you were talking about being in spaces, coming up to the 21st century, being in spaces where you felt disregarded because of your gender. So then, what do you feel, I'm asking you the $10 million question now, what are some practical things as you view the world that you feel it would take that are necessary, you know, in every corner and crevice, in the homes, which is where they say the ruin of a nation starts in the home of its people, and also the convex is true, right? Or what's the word? The converse, or whatever. The opposite is true. The upliftment of a nation can also, you know. You say when you teach a woman, you teach a nation. So what are some of the things that you feel, you know, as a mother yourself, could be helpful as we continue? There's a huge consciousness across spiritual traditions, across national lines of building a new world. That's on the lips of many. So give us some of those recipes, give us some of those ingredients as you know it.
Yeah, so one thing that I think we should take into consideration, right, is our roles. I know now as I say that, I know people gonna come for me, right? Gender roles, like abolish them, right? And people may think that that's what I mean, and it's not. What I mean, right? I do think that there are things that men do.
Good.
And there are things that women do.
Yeah, I'm not for abolishing
right?
gender roles. I'm just gonna speak for myself.
Right.
Y'all come for me too.
And what I mean by that is we should be comfortable and content and happy, right, with some of the things that we do as women, and celebrate it, right? I think somewhere along the line we got really confused and we wanted to be just like men, and I don't understand why.
Correct.
Well, I do understand how it happened. Again,
because men seem to have all the power in this world.
Right. Okay. Right. And someone told us that we needed to, challenge, like I need to make just as much money and I'm just as good. And so no one ever, I don't think the question is about whether or not we are, I'll make sure I'm using my words, right? Because we've been looking for like equality. Here it is. We've been looking for equality when we really should be looking for balance. And they're not the same.
Help us distinguish.
So, like to be equal to a man, right? For a woman to feel like, let's use birth, for instance. It's the easiest example. It's the easiest example, right? I can't give birth without a man.
Right.
It's not feasible, right? For me to give birth naturally without a man. I know science has, told us something different. And the egg and the sperm have to come together, right? As a woman, it's my duty and my role to birth the child into existence, right? To nurse the child when the child comes. The man doesn't do that. And that's how it was set up, right? For good reason.
For real good reason.
For real good reason.
I remember one of my daughters, one of my daughters was missing her mama. Her mama ran to the store or something. So I caught myself playing a practical joke. And the girl crying. And I put her mouth in my breast. And the cry turned into an all-out scream.
It was like, what is this foolishness? Right. Even the baby understands that this ain't the way it works. Where's my mama? So somewhere, we have felt like, and there's a balance in that that is actually beautiful and should be revered, right? And should be kept sacred. And in our search for equality, right? I want to be just like. We have somehow diminished and taken what I feel like I'll say is like taking the spirit and out of what is true, right? About our roles in community with one another. And that example is just one example. Birth is just one example, but we can repeat them over and over again within our households, within our communities, within our organizations, right? The role of the woman and the role of the mama and her presence being a necessity and us taking great joy and great love. And I'm not talking about I'm not just talking about like being in the kitchen and things, because that's something that women go to, right? Oh, they just have me in the kitchen and yada, yada, yada. And right, being in the kitchen is that there's some great strength and power in that. Right? There's some great strength and power in that. And it's not our only place, right? We are also healers. We are also priests. We are also teachers. We are nurturers. And there's great strength and great power in that. We are also warriors, right? Like Oshun does carry a machete, a brass machete. And we forget that. We forget that because someone has put another narrative in our mind about who we are and how we come to the table. So I just want to return to, I don't know if I was going to say I want to return to the truth. That is true. But I'm also learning that it's time maybe for us to also build our own truths and be good with that.
So how does that work? Build our own truth.
right, conversations. And it's one of the reasons why, like, I feel like we have to start talking about the things that we need to talk about. When we can do that together, and then we build those conversations together. I think it's good for women to talk together. I think it's good for men to talk together, and I think it's good for us to all talk together. Right? The Voices of EY is just one space where women can talk together, but it's not the only conversations that we should be having.
Right.
We should absolutely be talking to each other and deepening on our understanding and our relation together. I think, again, that's one of the things that we spent time really doing that was so beautiful and so inspirational across understandings, across religions, across gender, across age.
Right.
You know, like we have to have some deeper healing conversations and come out with what one of my elders is, she keeps saying, the new dispensation. You know, we're in a new time.
Yeah, and when you said build our own truth, I even am taking some notes now because that's a very compelling thing. On one level, how I understand that, how I interpret that is that we continue to tell our own stories. And then the challenge is, I want to ask it instead of making a statement. What's the difference between shaping our own stories, shaping our own narrative, and just making up stuff and saying, this is what it is? So, just making up-ish, because we do that too.
Yes,
it's my truth that the earth is flat, it's flat. And I have, receipts. And so now I am creating protocols and creating communities and curriculum and everything based on this, and causing ultimately division because I feel like you're an idiot if you feel the earth is round, blah, blah, blah. This is a silly example. So help us distinguish what you mean by building our own truth.
I think that there is a connection, kind of like Sankofa, right? Sankofa, let me make sure I say it right. We're reaching back to fetch what is ours, right? And in bringing back what is ours, right? We're bringing it back into the current time. And so there's new ways of thinking, there's new ways of being, there's new ways of understanding. There are things that we did not understand in the 1800s that we now have a deeper understanding about. It would be foolish to not acknowledge the fact that there are some things that have changed clearly, right? And so now how do we put those things together? How do we have conversations together that do bring all of the beauty from the past? This is a living example, like where we are at Kasi, right? Indigenous practices brought now into this time, right? Coupled with things like solar energy and, like all of the things that we now understand now and how we can practice them now that make it a both and, that make it a both and. And I think that's it, right? Like a both and.
Yeah.
We're always trying to negate one thing, like,
Right. That could never be the case. Yeah. I saw it go.
Yeah.
I feel you completely. I really appreciate you bringing out these fundamentals. I don't know if you're complete in terms of, because you're giving us some homework. What I got from you first is seek balance and not necessarily equality, and then building our own truth. Again, we're speaking with Iya Omisegun, curator, creator of Voices of Iwa. You're tuning into the Ancestral Rock on your station for progressive information and handpicked quality music. We're celebrating with our sister 2 successful seasons and some good trouble on the way. She's giving us a little a little preview. I know y'all gonna be cocked to the TV on a Wednesday evening as our sisters unfold some conversation that's meaningful, as you said so poignantly. It's women conversation, but for the whole village to hear. That's very powerful. So anything else in terms of homework? I asked you the question, for those of y'all tuning in, I just asked the question about, as so many people all over the world are poised, are connected, are expressing their commitment to build a new world. What are some of the things that we cannot afford to miss, that we cannot afford to ignore as we build in this new foundation?
Yeah, I implore you to have some conversations. I want you to talk to 3 people. I want you to talk to an elder, right? Talk to an elder woman, talk to an elder man. Talk to them together, talk to them separate, however it comes. I want you to talk to someone who's in their late 30s, early 40s. And I want you to talk to someone that is under the age of 20. Maybe between 15 and 20. And have some intergenerational dialogue about truth, right? About where they see us now and what it is they hope for our future. And really see yourself, imagine yourself in that future. And get to work. You know, like this week we have been around some revolutionary people that are not just talking, they are doing. And not just doing, right? Because the other thing that has been so present is spirit. Right? So they are, once again, they are embodying it. Right? They bring.
And that's what made the gathering so sweet and so fluid.
You know, and so we have to ask ourselves, what role do we play in, if the future is bright, and the future is bright. Sovereignty is real. You know, Mama Marimba always talked about sovereignty to the point where I used to be like, I don't even know if I fully understand, right? So, you know, sitting at her feet has been an honor. And I feel leaving this place like it is totally feasible and possible. Ask yourself, what role do you play in the freedom and liberation of Black people across the world?
And when you mentioned, you were very specific in terms of your recommendation of the age groups. Elder speaks for itself. Somebody under the age of 20, that speaks for itself. Late 30s to early 40s. Why you chose that as another representation, as obvious as it may be?
Because we're the workers. We're actually the ones that are in it, right? We are not youth. And we are not yet elders. And so our job, this is why you have to talk to both of them, because our job is to see and hear what both groups on the either end are saying and carry that forward.
The whole nation is on the shoulders of the middle age, as they say. Yeah, very, very.
It's on us right now.
Right.
All my elders have been so clear. It's a little scary at times, but it's on us right now.
Yeah, real tough. You mentioned Mama Marimba, you know, going back to one of the questions I asked you. You know, for the audience that don't know, we're talking about Mama Marimba Ali, warrior scholar, the author of Urugu, which is one of her most popular works. And she knew my father before I knew myself. She was part of the East organization that went to Guyana. A group of people went there in exile in the early 70s. But when I met her, we had known each other for years, but we didn't know the family connection. I remember I had a more intimate conversation with her in the year 2008 in Philadelphia. And so to situate myself, and the reason I'm telling this story is, at that time, you know, I'm in my priesthood, Rastafari, Nyabingi priesthood, and you know, still just grappling with many things in terms of the social order of the world, you know, coming up in a revolutionary household. That's why the question I asked earlier about people who born with something has deep meaning for me, because it's just like preachers' children and all that. Sometimes they say that you're born with a silver spoon, so there's also a cultural silver spoon, right? Well, that's another conversation. So I was teaching at a school in Philadelphia, and Mama Marimba came up there. And one of the things I was grappling with is this narrative that the only reason that our people are in bondage is because of some wicked white people. And that's it. It's just because some crackers came to our land and raped us and stole us away, and that's it. That's the end of this conversation. And it was always something that I couldn't get with. And I'm born into this movement, you know? And I'd be around people whose intellect I respect and everything. It's just something, you know, as a warrior, I just couldn't get with, because my question is, how do we, again, cut it off in the past so this never happened again? Mama Marimba is the first African warrior scholar who, without giving any pass to the Europeans, that's the other thing. It's not like excusing them for their sickness. She was like, well, she named hierarchy, an imbalanced hierarchy and classism as something that helped with a breakdown, you know? And I was like, man, that just, I could almost feel the tension in my body releasing. And from since then, you know, Mama, I can't pass her straight. You call me Ras Kofi, need anything, I'm there. You know, because just the integrity that type of scholarship shows, where it's not a lazy analysis, and it's putting things in the proper place, and you know, so again, you know, as we have this conversation and we're celebrating Voices of Iwa, and we're celebrating Voices of Iwa as one chamber of the revolutionary culture that is permeating the world right now, but one powerful chamber, you know, because of who it speaks to. You know, it speaks to African women, or I'm assuming African women. Yeah. You know, and so that's the mama. That's the mother of the whole world. That's right. Regardless of what new truths we come up with, what new, you know, arrangements, what new understandings that we rightfully allow to come through our heart and to crystallize. I don't know if that's going to change. That's the mother African one. That's the mother of creation. So yeah, we give thanks. So I want to talk a little bit more specifically about the show as we get ready to close. You're in season 2. Just logistically, how can people? You just finished season 2. And again, for those who just joined us, you said season 1. Give us a little recap of what the seasons were about, generally, as we go into season 3.
So season 1 was about the role of women in our community. And we broke down several different roles: mother, daughter, teacher, priest, yalode. You know, we were just going through different roles of women so that women could see themselves, right? Wife, you know, like we really talked about our various roles that we have in community. The second season was the values and principles that we practice every day. And this third season is really about the things, the topics that we have just not had the space and time created to talk about. You know, so you know, we have been getting feedback from the audience on what some of those things should be, you know, so that we can be very intentional about talking about the things that they want to hear about, and that would be meaningful.
Can you give us a preview?
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about, we're going to be having some intergenerational dialogue, right? Where just what I said, right? Like I'm going to be a person of my own word, right? Where we'll be talking to elders and youth and workers all at the same time. We're going to have dialogue around our connection to Africa and some of our hurts and wounds around spaces and places where we may have felt taken advantage of or misunderstood. We're going to talk about you know, I'm trying to not use the word trauma anymore, but as women, so I guess it's just asked us to change that, but some wounds, right?
Wounds of oppression.
Some of our wounds are sexual wounds as women, and how that has held us back from loving deeper, and being connected to men and being connected in our communities. We're going to be talking about some of our financial traumas in Asheshe and specific, and how that has also held us back. Right, and so this is not going to be. I want to say this because it's not just this is by no means a griping session.
It's not
right?
the trauma.
It is not.
Trauma season.
It is not. Right. What the premise is to unearth, so that we can speak directly to solutions, and so that we can be very solution. These are going to be very solution oriented conversations that we have. Where we have spirit at the base and women speaking about the solutions that we can incorporate into our everyday life to change these things for our communities.
Yeah, I must bear witness that your show is definitely something that is solutionary. And that's one of the things I appreciate about it. Because as much as I will chant on the mountaintop that patriarchy is a crime against humanity, and my father called himself a feminist. That's the first person I know. And he's a man's man, and me too. I also straight up will have y'all talking to your TV. Some of the stuff, you know what I mean? Because I ain't with the BS either. Like lazy analysis. So patriarchy is a crime against humanity, and now everything gets blamed on patriarchy. Everything, and that's some of the fears I have experienced in terms of the unfolding. Not how it's going to turn out, but especially with the youth, because I feel like there are people who are social engineers who understand what our mothers have gone through, as an example, who understand it. Their parents are who engineered it, and they still see room for divisiveness. So they create words and programs to keep us divided, to keep us weak, in the name of empowering, whether it's women, whether it's the youth, anyone vulnerable, Black people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's part of my station at this season in life, to really watch that. And I don't have to, as you said earlier about Iya Omisegun, I don't have to make no effort. It's just what comes, because if your initial orientation is wholeness and balance, then what you do is I think the poet Rumi said in one way that's profound to me. I always repeat it, Your task is not to seek for love, but to seek for all the blockages you've built for love. Why is that? Because love is the plasma. Love is the fabric that we have inherited. Love is everything.
Yeah.
So it's not like, let's create love somewhere. Let's be, and that is it. But there's a interference, there's a foreign invasion, or whatever you want to call it, that seeks to break love down, as an example.
Yeah,
So,
I understand.
So when does the new season start?
The new season starts mid-November.
Okay.
Mid-November, and it'll take us in. We do Wednesday night at 7:00, so I think that might be like November 19th.
Okay.
And that it'll go until March.
Okay.
And in March, we will have the end of March, March 28th and 29th, we will have the second annual Real Women Inspire Summit.
I see.
Where
I know it's going to be big.
Yeah, women will get together from across the country for a weekend of sisterhood, of empowerment, of love, right? Love of community. We started last year kind of building on some plans for our community, what we wanted to see. We're going to continue that effort in building connection and building plans for, again, amplifying the women's voice in community.
That's it. So as we close, how can a 2 or 3 part question in terms of support? How can, first, I want to start with the men in the world, men of the world, especially the African men of the world. How can we support your series? How can we support the Voices of Europe?
I appreciate that question. You can watch like you have been watching. People
So it's
actually,
it's
the
not for
truth is,
women only,
men,
right?
it is not just
So I
for
ain't gotta sneak
you
and watch
don't
it.
have to sneak and watch it. You know, you can tell other people about it. If you want the truth, more men have supported financially than women in terms of like on YouTube. In terms of on YouTube, because we have a women's community, and those women have joined and they give. But like in terms of like sending donations on YouTube and that kind of thing, it's always brothers that'll be like, here's some money on YouTube, which we have totally appreciated. We also have online, we have merchandise, right? We have Iwa t-shirts and things like that are unisex, right? They're promoting our culture and promoting our our messaging. So feel free to support that way.
And you said online, please give the website.
Yeah, so it's www.iwalifestyle.com. www.iwalifestyle.com. Yeah, and so I think there will also be other opportunities that we will be having soon for more dialogue. We are thinking about, I'll say this year, we are thinking about expanding. So Voices of Iwa won't be the only show, right? We're thinking about how we can make our YouTube channel more of a channel. And so in that, we will be creating more content that will also incorporate brothers. So we are thinking big. That's
Okay, y'all gonna let the brothers in, huh?
Well, one of the things that you have been saying this last week, we can't be thinking small. We gotta think big.
Yeah.
And so the ancestors have put that on my heart also, like think big. So with that, we are looking at the YouTube space being a channel that's more encompassing. So we'll be creating more content outside of just Voices of Iwa.
Okay, excellent. And finally, one of the mainstays of your show is the people praying, the guests. So I'm gonna ask you today to say a prayer for the people of the world.
My pleasure. Today is Oseosa, so it's Obatala's day. So I want to call on that energy in specific. Eposa, Osaepa, Olua, Epa, Pidiojuala, Epa, Oda Moda Ye, Epa. Baba Obatala, we give you thanks for another day. We are grateful for time. We are grateful for space. We are grateful for collaborative energy. We are grateful for your healing energy, Baba Obatala. You are the king of the white cloth, the one that brings intelligence and wisdom into our spaces. So I pray that as a people around the world that we are able to bring intelligence and wisdom into every space that we occupy. May we create, you are the spirit of creativity. So may we create the world around us in just the way that we want to see it. May we collaborate together with a spirit of love and a spirit of unity that is unbreakable. Obatala, may your white cloth cover us, those of us that have decided to be on the front lines, those of us that are ready to fight for our communities, those of us that are ready to protect our communities. May we be covered in your white cloth. May we wake up, may we sleep, talk, may we think in white, so that the world can see the beautiful reflection of Black love and Black unity throughout the world. Ashe.
Thank you, Iya Omisegun, for joining us. Thank you for joining us on the program. And thank you more importantly, for answering the call of our creator, of your ancestors. Thank you for your courage to answer that call, because it takes courage to fly in the face of what seems to be the established norm. However, that's what our children's children, that's the reason why your children 300 years from now will be calling your name. Because you stood up. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And you're welcome again.
I appreciate it.
I'll put it myself the chapter very first drop. Much love, much respect to our sister. Yeah, Omisegun for stepping through. Let's line up with the words on power, you know. So here it is. Reaching out to our warrior with the cause, a rebel with the righteous cause. I'm in the same line where our special guest comes from. Check it out.
By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. City projects and town where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. Sussing out the whole thing, scoping how everything on. For us the system failing, mostly the wealthy gaining. Planting a natural garden, industrial plant polluting. Fall from the cloud acid rain, destroy and not like building. The love the case of Zion, more than all Jacob dwelling. More than this place we betting, more than them crazy custom. More employment with poor man, means extra cash for someone. The evil favoritism, need to get wiped out this land. I think that was a Babylon.
Ireland Poet, big tune coming from Desiree, our sister, coming out to the VI, you know, from years, 20 years now, and I bust that sound on the radio. Big up yourself, Abashaka, the Simba Rockers International and the crew. Yes, I had the pleasure of being around a lot of the angels from the Virgin Islands this past week in the Atiwote, the Volta region in Ghana. Ras Kubu, Ras Bobby, the elder herbalist, Mama Benita, and many others, you know. There's a special love we got for the warriors who come from that space in the world because, as our brother Von Benjamin told me one time, even here on the radio, I asked him, why are these people from the VI so militant? Everyone seemed like a warrior vibe. And he told me that that's where some of the deepest waters in the world have been measured. That was his way of answering that question. Word to the wise should be sufficient. Check it out.
By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. City projects and town where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. Sussing out the whole thing, scoping how everything on. For us the system failing, mostly the wealthy gaining. Planting a natural garden, industrial plant polluting. Fall from the cloud acid rain, destroy and not like building. The love the case of Zion, more than all Jacob dwelling. More than this place we betting, more than them crazy custom. More employment with poor man, means extra cash for someone. The evil favoritism, need to get wiped out this land. I the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. I the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. I the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. City projects and town where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. Zion. Various things are spoken of the old city chosen. Feel good and time we hear them, both milk and honey flowing. Blessed holy foundation can be found in the mountains, land of the gods surrounded by waterfalls and fountains. When we remember Zion, we cannot help but smiling. Every day hearing siren, but news alone news flashing. In the midst of the heathen, hear the conquering lion. Witnesses testifying, the elder storytelling. The ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. City projects and town where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. Ooh, wanting Zion. Zion. Wanting Zion. Ooh, wanting Zion. By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting Zion. By the ghettos of Babylon where we sat down in a meditation wanting.
Brother for life, real. In a life, don't forget where you're coming from. Peace in the cat, and you know where you're going. Oh, Lord, yeah, hero, yeah. And
Theme music for all farmers in the land. Theme music for all the farmers in the land. Grow up the food and feed the nation. They were talking about SNAP benefits getting cut. We don't take that lightly because we know how that affects the people. And what we have to take lightly is our imperative. Feed ourselves. Scott Kissinger said it. Who feed the world, who control the food, control the population.
Up in the hills where them call from town. In the evening when the sun got.
I'm pulling my selector because the writings on the wall, you know. PZ, Little Hero, singing out for the nation. And an evening time like this time. We give thanks to life. Y'all stay focused. Stay focused on your good.
And you know where you're going. Oh, Lord, yeah, hero, yeah. And sing. Up in the hills where them call from town. In the evening when the sun gone down. Breeze a blow cool and everything calm down. We'll never forget how we background. Up in the hills where them call from town. In the evening when the sun gone down. Breeze a blow cool and everything calm down. Never forget how we background. When evening come, me say me touch the ball ground. When me touch the ball, I be a crowd me call down. Stand up firm, get a youth no fall down. Woodstock, better town people from around. Oh Lord, what a wonderful feeling to see my people gather around in the evening. One side and in all of this Lincoln, people are rejoicing like we in a kingdom. These are not the can I say. Up in the hills where we call from town. In the evening when the sun gone down. Breeze a blow cool and everything calm down. We never forget that me background. Up in the hills where we call from town. In the evening when the sun gone down. Breeze a blow cool and everything calm down. We never forget that me background. Never forget where you're coming from, or you won't know where you're going. And if you get to where you're coming from, then I'll be a sign to go show. In front of my to get broke up, get gunned down. It's like them want to turn the place in gun crowd. 2 days after that, my place gone down. Be a stone man a fling all when them ear gun sound. The people them from Ginger all the whole of them come down. Police from St. and Pierre, police from Brownstown. Can't take the ghetto youth to clown. So up in the hills where them call from town. In the evening when the sun gone down. Breeze a blow cool and everything calm down. Never forget how you background. None at all. Up in the hills where them call from down. In the evening when the sun gone down. Breeze a blow cool and everything calm down. Never forget how you background. Before me touch the beer, me have to touch all valley. Me kick it back and then me smoke some cali. So me find out the use now in enough valley. them not push the gun in a chalice. Come make we give thanks for life. Pick up the bar, tickets and 3 nights. Why up you no Calabar? And round at the east side, what she riots to make a walk you. Them not take no bribe. Exchange of pineapple to realize so. Up in at the hills and when them call from down. In the evening when the sun gone down. Breeze a blow cool and everything calm down. Never forget how we born grow. Up in the hills and where them call from town. In the evening when the sun gone down. Breeze a blow cool and everything calm down. Never forget how we born grow.
Yeah.
Farm town center Jamaica. Never forget how we born grow. Yeah, how we born. Dedicated to one black woman, boy. Beautiful and strong, don't follow the ways of Bobby Wrong, no.
As we make our way out of here, we want to send this out to the superheroes of our liberation movement, our journey, and everyone play their part. Thanks to our sister, Iya Omisegun, for coming through. Stuff to all the family, Habisha, all the family of the Kazi, all the family that convened for the annual Global Black Food Sovereignty Summit. And we're looking forward to the works, We're looking forward to the works, the continued works of feeding our people by any means necessary. Check it out. See y'all next time. Y'all stay together. Take care of yourself. Take care of one another.
Let's find the sun and from your womb came Ethiopian African daughters and son. Oh, the beauty of the Nubian woman. Oh, yes, you truly are the one. Search the 4 corners of the earth. There's none like you. The flat backside and blonde hair won't do. To one and I ancestry man must be true. African woman, you got the glue. To hold and I family together. Righteous virtues concealing the treasure. And to protect you, man will take every measure. And to defend you anytime against what the black woman you are ruler. Black woman you are ruler. Don't make no European come fool ya. But the African school ya. Black woman you are ruler. Oh, black woman you are ruler. Don't make no European come fool ya. But no foundational school ya. Every righteous black man should have a righteous black woman. No separation, superstition, mass relation. Under microscope and no evaluation. Woman no number man in every matic equation. Baby mother, don't destroy her family. Babylon fast teaching cause an emotional rivalry. Cause slavery leave the black man with the lowest salary. And make it hard to afford the basic necessity. Well, the need to look brought for the child. And we no business if a queen wife or baby. And Jaja gave life to that black baby. So we no better get on the priority straight. Black woman, you are ruler. African woman, you are ruler. Don't make no European come fool ya. But not the African school ya. Oh, black woman, you are ruler. Oh, black woman, you are ruler. Don't make no European come fool ya. But the foundational school ya. Chocolate mocha caramel couldn't be sweeter. But to live without you when I need you would have been beater. I love to see you when you walk on the street, yeah. And you not dressed like prostitute, nah, stripper. Oh, makeup, black family protector. Generation depends on you. Manipulating your body and time Philippian use. I'm only praying black life you choose. Black woman, you are ruler. Oh, black woman, you are ruler. Don't make no European come fool ya. But no the African school ya. Black woman, you are ruler. Oh, black woman, you are ruler. Don't make no European come fool ya. Follow your cultural school ya. Black woman, you are ruler. African woman, you are ruler. Don't make no European come fool ya. Follow your cultural, follow foundational school ya. Black woman, you are
Man. Yeah, from the day with righteousness rising on my son. Yeah, man, I just. Well, I still let your rise and all his enemies be scattered and let them that also fight him for you for me. Them want destroy, how we joy, all of the joy, them can't destroy, how we joy, the ghetto use them pull them up a joy, how we joy, them want destroy, how we joy, can't touch with joy, well in the joy, them, well at the joy, well, the ghetto use no mix up in a wrong dealing. And in the midst of them keeping good herbs and bun. Herbs with the smoke in your come and bust your gun. And your button beating. When I trouble you with your pretty girl sleeping. When I trouble you when you got your food eating. So loud the ghetto you to sign them striving. Because he say you defile and you sin. Well they not the joy. Them war destroy. Yeah the joy. Can't touch me joy. Oh yeah the joy. Them want destroy. Yeah the joy. Can't touch me joy. Well, me no business about the big guns what you keeping. I mean no business if you carry a bad feeling. But no matter if you drink no tea this morning. You're free when these people you greet him. We no business about your politics meeting. We no business the religion what you seeking. In a the ghetto your business you the peeping. Yeah this the ghetto girl well and a lightning. How we joy them. How we joy. Can't touch me joy. Yo how we joy them. How we joy, can't just me joy. Well, youth spurn and they get a youth looting. Table turn and they get a youth shooting. Get a youth say them tired of this suffering. And them no want no leader where that they control him. Them use the money and build up them big building. And what the people them from morning till evening. Pastor Allah cause him call the offering. And the church sister catch them grinning. Well they not the joy. Them are the joy. Can't touch with joy. Yo, how we joy. Them how we joy. Can't touch me joy when the Gideon bus. Then what a thing when Stony Hill people them start to fling pump PJ Siaka and Bruce Golding, the madman said this year he wants some up full living. Him tell PJ say him no one, I'm out of rubbish bin. In bun Mr. Low, Mr. Wanga, Mr. Ching. You put the youth pants on crime, put them in a ring. Yo, them done your map, Jaja duck wing. So me hide the cow, them and me hide the pigeon. Yo, what the joy, them. Well, them not the joy. All of them. I the joy, them war destroy, I the joy. I the joy, well them not the joy, them war destroy, I the joy. Can't touch me joy, well them now we joy, them war destroy, I we joy. Can't touch me joy, well the use no in and no wrong dealing. Good herbs are bomb, chalice with the smoking. You bring your gun and your button beating. Togetherness vibes we keeping. Yeah, man, I trouble you with your girl sleeping. But I'm honest you when you got your food eating. So now they get to you to see them all prospering. Because he say you defile and you sin. Well, I the joy, Babylon, the world destroy. I the joy.